Thank you so much for joining to learn how you can electrify your ride with an EV or e-bike. We're in the middle of National Drive Electric Week, and it's exciting to see so much interest from San Jose residents and for those of you outside of the San Jose area. My name is Amika Osborne. I'm with Cool the Earth. We're an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and air pollution. While we are big fans of walking, biking, public transportation, and carpooling, preferably in an electric car, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the adoption of electric vehicles, EVs and e-bikes in a fair and just marketplace. I would like to thank San Jose Clean Energy for sponsoring this webinar, and I'm happy to have Sarai Rojas here tonight to co-present with me. This is our agenda for the evening. We'll have a brief introduction from Sarai. Then we'll talk about the benefits of driving electric. We'll hone in a little bit on incentives. We'll do an EV showcase so I can show you some of the most popular EVs out there. We'll talk about how to EV, which is mostly charging at home and on the road. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the programs that we're offering, and we'll have Q&A at the end. We'll be going over lots of information tonight, and not to worry, we'll be sending you a PDF of this presentation and the recording in our follow-up communication and email. And if any questions come up during this presentation, please feel free to raise your hand using the reaction button on Zoom, or put it in the chat, and we'll make sure all those questions are answered. And then again, we have that Ask Me Anything EV section at the very end. All right, let's dive in. I'd like to introduce Sarai Rojas from San Jose Clean Energy.
Thanks, Annika. Hi, everybody. Like Annika said, my name is Sarai, and I'm a public information representative for San Jose Clean Energy, or SJCE. So thanks so much for coming out tonight. If you're here in the San Jose area like me, a bit about SJCE. SJCE has been San Jose's local electricity provider since 2019. We're a community choice aggregator, which means that we source and build clean energy for the residents and businesses of San Jose. Then PG&E, since they own all the power lines and infrastructure in San Jose, they still deliver that to your home. We're taking care of sourcing and building that renewable energy. We're also a department of the city of San Jose, which means that we're not for profit and we're close to the community. If you're not from San Jose and you live elsewhere, there are similar agencies across the Bay Area and the state, like Silicon Valley Clean Energy, East Bay Clean or Community Energy, et cetera. So you might be their customer. So SJCE, we're saving you money on more renewable energy in order to fight the climate crisis. We're also designing programs to reduce emissions and help our community experience the benefits of clean energy. Finally, we're here to help. Like I said, we were advocated for by the community. We're very close to the community. So we partner with organizations like Ride and Drive Clean to bring these important resources to the community.
Great, thank you. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of get started with the program now. So there are many benefits to driving electric. In California, passenger vehicles are the single largest source of GHG emissions, representing up to 50% of our individual carbon footprint. So when we switch from a gas car to an EV and plug into clean energy, like we can do here in San Jose and throughout the Bay Area, we are taking impactful climate action by reducing carbon emissions and air pollution, both which disproportionately impact equity priority communities. And in addition to reducing our impact on the planet, there's no sacrifice when we go electric. We can save time, money, and improve our driving experience with an EV. And an EV can even help with backup power when there's a power outage. So while early EV drivers often paid a high premium for electric cars, today's EV drivers often save money. And here are a few reasons why. It costs much less to fuel an electric car. Fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than fueling an EV, depending upon where and when you're charging your EV. And electricity prices tend to be much more stable than gas prices, as we've seen in these last few years, and just here recently in the last few weeks, it appears. In addition, maintenance costs are 40% lower for EVs. So it's basically adding windshield wiper fluid and rotating your tires. Then there are the standard incentives available for up to $9,500, which can help bring the cost of purchasing or leasing an EV down. So we'll talk a little bit about these incentives. There are currently 4 types of incentives that can save you up to $9,500 when you buy an EV. There are additional grants and rebates available for both new and used EVs for people who qualify due to their income. We won't be going into great detail on those today, but you can ask me questions about them during Q&A. I have a lot of information about those as well. The California state rebate is available or has been available for many EV buyers, and it does have some income qualifications and vehicle price limits. You have to claim this rebate within 3 months of taking delivery of your EV. There's kind of a good news, bad news situation. The state has actually run out of money for this program because so many people have purchased EVs this year. So now there's a standby list. I still recommend if you get an EV, sign yourself up for the state rebate, and we'll see what happens. They might make this a wait list, and they might be able to pay you eventually, once they get refunded. I think what I just learned is that 1 out of 4 cars purchased in California in Q1 this year was electric. So this is a really huge boost in EVs, and I don't think the state was really expecting so many EVs to be purchased, but this is really, really great news. The federal tax credit was revamped last year. It's now called the Clean Vehicle Tax Credit. There are new qualifications for this tax credit, and so just basically it goes against your tax liability. And it's available for up to $7,500 as a tax credit for a new EV, and up to 30% of the cost, up to $4,000 for a pre-owned EV. There are also utility and CCA incentives. Currently, there's a PG&E pre-owned EV rebate for $1,000 for anyone, and up to $4,000 if your income qualifies. And then if you'd like to install a home charging station at home, a level 2 charging station at home, there is the home charging federal tax credit, which is available for 30% of the cost up to $1,000. These are some great savings calculators that I recommend that you all take a look at. You can punch in your household income and your zip code, and it will let you know exactly what you qualify for. So that's really helpful. Before I dive into the federal tax credit, I want to emphasize that I'm not a tax expert, so you may want to verify that you qualify for the tax credit with a tax professional. So again, that clean vehicle tax credit goes against your tax liability for up to $7,500. So you have to owe the federal government $7,500 in order to take this tax credit. If you owe $5,000 for the year, then you can take the tax credit for $5,000. And unfortunately, you can't split it between years. In order to qualify, there are some other requirements. The EV must be purchased or financed to receive this credit. It must be assembled in North America. Like the state rebate, there are now both vehicle price limits and income limits. The income limit is on the modified adjusted gross income. EVs will also have to meet some battery requirements, as well. So for some cars, the tax credit is available for $3,750, while for others it's available for $7,500. To check which vehicles actually qualify, there's a website right there. And I will share with you on this next list, on this next slide. So these are the EVs that now qualify for the tax credit and the different amounts that they qualify for. Just let you take a quick look at that. Okay, I'm going to move on. Again, I'll be sharing this with you, so you'll have this information. While there are a lot of requirements for the federal tax credit that have recently been put in place, there may be a workaround for all of these requirements. If you lease an EV, the dealership may pass on the $7,500 credit to you when they figure out your lease payments. So almost all manufacturers, or many, many manufacturers, especially the ones who don't qualify for the purchasing credit, the ones that were not on this list. So a lot of foreign-made EV manufacturers are all offering the $7,500. They're not necessarily calling it the tax credit. They're calling it a lease bonus or something like that. But you do want to verify with the dealer or with Cartelligent before you sign the lease to make sure that they are passing that along to you. And you may want to check in with several dealers if there's a particular car you want to see which ones are being, offered. There's a new rebate for used EVs this year with stricter income limits and vehicle costs. It's now available for up to $4,000, and the price of the used EV must be less than $25,000. About a year ago, it was hard to find a used EV for less than $25,000 because there was a shortage of new and used EVs. But now I know that there are many on the market for under that price cap. Okay. Oh, so we're hearing from the federal government that in 2024, the credit is going to be available as an upfront rebate. So you won't have to wait until you file your taxes. This will be very helpful for down payments. We'll be updating everybody about this information as it becomes available. So in addition to saving money with an EV, you'll also save time. With an EV, you can get access to the HOV lane as a single passenger with a special decal, and you'll never have to wait in line at a gas station again. I never had really realized how much I disliked going to gas stations until I got an EV, and now I can just drive right past them. It's really a great feeling. For many people, it's convenient to charge at home or at work. And EVs offer low maintenance and efficiency, as I mentioned before. It's really, replacing the windshield washer fluid and replacing your tires. While there are 2,000 plus moving parts in a gas car, there are fewer than 20 in an EV. So there are very few maintenance visits. And once in a while, you'll even get VIP parking. Oftentimes, EV charging stations are located right up front at shopping centers or workplaces. And EVs are just a little more fun to drive. What I really like is the extra torque or power that you get when you drive an EV. I like that I can quickly accelerate when I'm getting on the freeway. And then once I'm on the freeway, I can just, power up a little bit and just maneuver between lanes, just kind of glide into where I want to be. I love that. It makes it feel a lot safer to drive that way as well. I love the quiet, smooth drive that makes for great conversations when you're on a road trip. And for me, the high safety ratings are really important. When we first got our EVs, I had 2 teenagers driving at home. So that was really important. I think high safety ratings are important for everybody. And because, EVs are brand new technology, there are sensors outside of the car. Also, they brake automatically, before you hit something. So there's a lot of great features in these EVs. And another benefit, some people are worried about buying EVs because they won't be able to power them during power outages, but EVs can actually help you during a power shutdown. You can plug in an inexpensive 300-watt inverter, the red box on the left, into the accessory port and power up small appliances like cell phones, laptops, LED lights. We lost power like 3 years ago for 5 days, and this was super handy. We were able to power up our computer and laptop. And I use this once in a while, if we have a power outage at home, I can just go sit in my car or next to my car and plug in my computer and keep working. But while this low wattage inverter cannot power up your refrigerator, which is something most people are interested in during a power outage, especially an extended one, there are some new EVs that are out there, that came out last year and this year that can, like the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and 6, the Fisker Ocean, the Genesis. They have higher wattage bidirectional charging available. So you can power up a refrigerator. I know it's not super convenient to unplug a refrigerator or pull it out, but if you know you're about to lose electricity for a few days or a day or something, and you don't want to lose all your food, it's probably worthwhile. So that's the picture there in the middle. So there's an adapter that comes with these cars, so you can just plug in a regular power cord right into your EV and power up off of the very large battery that's in an EV. The Ford F-150 Lightning can be integrated into a home's electrical system to provide backup energy to your home. So it acts like a generator at home, and it's a battery on wheels when you need electricity away from your home. For example, if you have landscaping equipment or medical devices and such. So the technology around inverters is advancing very quickly, and there are several companies working on vehicle-to-home energy management systems. So just imagine when you come home at the end of the day when electricity is expensive and not so clean, you can power up your home with the energy stored in your EV battery, and then power up your EV battery either during the day when the sun is shining and we have plentiful energy on our grid, or after midnight when there's inexpensive energy rates available. It's a very exciting technology, and we're moving very quickly toward these great solutions. Sarai, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. So electrifying your ride is a great way to start your all-electric journey if you're interested in getting fossil fuels completely out of your life. So this image on the screen is from our electric homes page. The URL is listed right there, and we can send it out afterwards too, if you're interested in learning more about this. But I want to share some of the basics about the benefits to electrifying your home in tandem with your ride. So for one, it improves your indoor air quality. Gas chemicals or gas releases toxic chemicals that are harmful to our health, especially for children. Second, electrifying can save you money because today's electric appliances are 3 to 5 times more efficient than their gas counterparts. So this will help lower your bill. Plus, there are tax credits and incentives to lower installation costs. So you can learn all about those on this website too. So like Annika was kind of saying, pairing these different electric technologies over time can make sense. For example, having solar panels and storage to power your car. And we understand that these upgrades take a good amount of research and considerable upfront resources. So we want to share this information so that you know it's there and that you can make informed decisions and take advantage of. So there's a lot of money out there right now to help people do this, thanks in part to the Inflation Reduction Act. So we want to bring attention to this because all of our collective changes, even if you can't do them all at once, collectively over time will add up to a really big climate and health impact for all of us. And that was all, Annika.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, EVs are one solution. It's a really big, great solution, and there are so many other things that we can do to reduce our carbon emissions. So we're going to take a look at available EVs and some that are coming soon. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about the battery because we typically have questions about the battery. So a lot of people wonder about these batteries. There are issues with batteries in terms of extracting critical minerals and the energy required to produce batteries, but these pale in comparison to the extraction, transportation, and burning of fossil fuels. The good news about EV batteries is that besides some early Nissan Leafs, there is very little battery degradation. So batteries will last for many miles. We're really not talking about replacing batteries in EVs. Sorry, I just noticed a typo on this slide. It's 200 to 500,000 miles is what we're expecting EVs EV batteries to go. So we're not talking about replacing EV batteries. So when a battery goes below, say, like 80% of its capacity, perhaps after 8 to 10 years, the range is reduced, but that's not catastrophic because you can still drive your EV, just not as far on one charge. So for example, if your car, most EVs have 200 to 300 miles of range now. So let's say your EV comes with 250 miles of range. After 8 to 10 years, it might be reduced to 210 or 220 miles of range, which doesn't really make a difference for most people's day-to-day driving or even, shorter trips. But it just means that if you're going on a long road trip, you're going to have to stop a little more frequently. But so it's different. This is very different from, even though our cell phones and laptops also have lithium ion batteries that kind of die, that you can't use. It's different with EV batteries. So they will keep going for many, many miles. Some are talking even about the million mile batteries that are being developed now. But when your EV does go below your range needs, there's the second life of an EV battery, using the batteries for stationary storage, which is something our utilities are very interested in for grid stabilization. We produce a lot of solar energy in the United States and in California. And if we don't use it or store it while the sun is shining, when the sun goes down, it's gone. So there's a lot of research now being done to transition EV batteries for stationary storage. And after being used to store energy, 95% of the materials can be recycled. Even rare minerals like cobalt can be purified and reused. So in the US, as I mentioned, 1 in 4 cars in Q1 this year that were purchased were electric. And when you see all of the models that are available and coming, you can understand why. So with so many EVs and plug-in hybrids available, there's an EV or e-bike for every lifestyle and budget now. Most fully electric EVs go 200 to 300 miles of range, and some will go even farther on one charge. That means you can go from San Jose to Tahoe with maybe a short 15-minute charging break. And with some EVs, you won't have to stop to charge at all. You might be able to go from San Francisco to Sacramento and back without having to stop and charge at all. And this was not the case 5 years ago, except for some very expensive EVs that were available. But it's exciting that most EVs now have a really good amount of range, and you can go a long way before you have to charge. And one of the first ones to really be available like this was the Chevy Bolt. So in the next section, I'll be doing an EV showcase with lots of new and a few coming EVs. The prices listed are the base MSRP. And since there are additional incentives available, the actual cost can be much less than these prices. I've starred the ones that qualify for the federal tax credit for purchase. So with that in mind, the Bolt is the best deal around. It's a super fun and peppy car to drive. In 2017, it was the first long-range EV that came to market under $40,000, and the pricing has come down significantly since. The Bolt EUV is a very similar model, but it's a little more spacious in the backseat. When you buy or lease a Bolt, you'll get a free level 2 charger or a charging card for $500. GM had announced that they were going to stop production of this car, which was a big bummer because this is a really popular EV, super easy to park also with a nice long range. But they announced that they're going to be making a 2024 model. So we're really excited to hear that. Here are a few popular models that you've most likely seen around. The Hyundai Kona and the Kia Niro are great crossovers, and the Nissan Leaf Plus model offers a higher range at just a little more cost. And incidentally, this year, the average price of a new car in the United States is $48,000. So these models are very competitive, and that's before incentives. And then there's Tesla. We like to separate the CEO from the technology. The Model 3 and the Model Y are the more affordable models. And since there was a recent price reduction, all of the trims now are available for the federal tax credit. Yeah, somebody had asked in the chat, during the last round of the federal tax credit for EVs that ended last year, they had a cap, so only a certain amount of EVs from each manufacturer qualified for the tax credit, but that cap has gone away. So now Tesla's once again qualified for the federal tax credit. I mean, that's significant. When you can get $7,500 off a $40,000 car, that's pretty great. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of Teslas around these days, because they're actually, the perception is that they have that they're very expensive, but they're actually some of the more affordable EVs out there, and they have really fast charging and, again, a reliable charging when you're on a road trip. So the cars on this slide all have bidirectional charging, so you can power a refrigerator or other appliances with the car battery for a week or so. No need for a gas generator when you have one of these EVs. We're very excited about, these models that have come out, just in the last year, and more are coming. These next cars came out in 2021, so you've probably seen them around as well. The ID.4 is the first from Volkswagen. I think we'll have to wait another year to see the ID. Buzz, which is going to be the electric bus. We'll be really excited to see that one on the road. The Ford Mustang Mach-E is super popular, and the Polestar is a relative of Volvo. It's a very nicely appointed EV. And Subaru and Toyota, which are, very popular in the Bay Area, they're a little late to the EV market, but we're excited to see these cars on the road since the end of 2022. The Nissan Ariya is Nissan's second all-electric EV, just came out last year as well, so it's nice that Nissan is mixing things up a little bit. And trucks are here, and more are coming. So we're especially excited about the Ford F-150 Lightning, which offers extra resiliency with bidirectional charging. Again, as I mentioned, it's basically a battery on wheels. And I didn't know this before I got into EVs, but the regular F-150 is the most popular car in the United States. So we think the Lightning model will be very popular, a game changer. The Chevy Silverado is coming out later this year. And over 1 million people have ordered the Cybertruck, which is coming out in 2023. I've seen some videos. I guess people have taken videos of the Cybertruck out in Fremont and Palo Alto areas as they're testing it. Should be interesting to see that one on the road. So the next few slides will showcase new EVs that are coming out later this year. So Chevrolet, besides coming out with the 2024 Chevy Bolt, is mixing it up with a few exciting new models. The Chevy Blazer and the Equinox, all estimated to be coming in at a really great price. Fisker Ocean is exciting with a full-length solar sky roof. If it's parked in the sun during the day, it can generate 1,500 emissions-free miles per year with that solar sky roof. And at the push of a button, all 8 windows and the solar sky roof can roll down, making it a convertible. I saw this at a showroom. Unfortunately, that lower end model is not coming out until next year. The current model that is actually being delivered now is in the mid 50,000 range. The Kia EV9 has 7 seats. And the Volvo EX30, they say it's small in size and big on safety. So there are some other Volvos also available, the Volvo XC40 and the C40 as well, which are already on the market, that are a little higher in price. So if you cannot find an all-electric car that works for you, there are many plug-in hybrids, or PHEVs as we call them, out there. If you plug in a PHEV every day, you may be able to cover your commute driving all electric, and you can save the gas tank for a road trip. The Ford, so these are some popular cars for commuting, and if you're looking for a more of a utility plug-in hybrid, these are available as well. Very popular. I know the Chrysler Pacifica EV is really popular on the used market. It's hard to get that one. And the Toyota RAV4 Prime is a little bit hard to get. I think even ever since it was released about 3 years ago, dealers have been asking for a surplus for that car. Like, it's super popular. It has a really nice electric range, so you can do most of your driving on electricity, and people like the utility, aspect of that car. But more and more EVs are coming out like this, to kind of because the SUVs are so popular. So EVs have been around for just about 10 to 12 years. And with this new technology, people have tended to lease their EVs. So there are many available on the used market, and EVs are always coming off their leases. So sometimes it's hard to find one, but keep in mind, they're always coming off leases. So, and they can be found at all different dealerships online. There are a couple of local Bay Area used EV dealerships. One is called Greenlight Auto. It's located in Daly City. Then there's one up in Benicia, but the people who own it are actually in the Bay Area. One is over in Redwood City, and it is called eMotion Autos, and they focus strictly on EVs, and they buy EVs off the auction market, and they're really in it for climate, so they're not marking them up very much. So that's really good news. I'm happy to share their contact information. So eMotion Autos, you can go to their website, and Greenlight Auto if you're interested in used. There are lots of longer range EVs also on the market. So there are Teslas on the used market, as well as Chevy Bolts. And these all qualify, all used EVs, as long as they're purchased from a licensed dealer, qualify for the federal tax credit. So there are no requirements like there are for new EVs. So that's good news. A little on e-bikes. So if you're not quite yet in the market for an EV, an e-bike might be right for you. Instead of hopping in a gas car, you can try commuting or running errands with an e-bike. E-bikes are really fast and fun, and there are so many different models to choose from cargo to commuter to recreational bikes. But this is a great way, if you're not ready to get an EV yet, you can reduce your carbon footprint by doing your errands and commuting on an e-bike. And I will say, talking to a lot of e-bike shops recently, there are some really good deals out there. So during the pandemic, everybody wanted an e-bike. And so they started manufacturing so many e-bikes. And right now there are some really good deals. So there's good, solid inventory on e-bikes, and you can get some really great deals on them. And I'll talk a little bit about one specifically. So one of the things that we do as a nonprofit organization is we organize EV and e-bike discount campaigns. So we have one going on right now with Rad Power Bikes. The closest store is in Berkeley. It's the only Bay Area store, but you can benefit from this e-bike discount campaign either by going to that store or by calling and placing an order with them. So they're offering $99 off of all of their e-bikes. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, their e-bikes are all under $2,500. Only 2 of their models are over $2,000. The other 7 models are under $2,000. And I saw some deals there that are like $1,300, $1,400 which is really great for an e-bike. And then you can even take that $99 off of sale bikes that they have. They're also offering free assembly with this discount campaign, a complimentary tune-up, and an e-bike accessory gift. Up to $40. But if you want to buy something more expensive, they'll take $40 off of that item. So really great program. I will mention that we will be running an EV discount campaign later in October, maybe around the 8th, the 10th of October. So you can look out for an email from us to learn about that. All right. In the next section, we're going to talk a little bit about how to EV, which is mostly charging. So people get worried about charging, but for many people, 80 to 90% of charging is done at home if that's available for them. And charging at home is easy. You just plug in the charger that comes with your vehicle into a standard 120 volt outlet. There are no install costs besides perhaps an extension cord. You'll want to get a heavy duty grounded extension cord and make sure you plug into an outlet that is not overburdened by lots of different that's not connected to a circuit, that's connected to a lot of outlets. So you don't want to blow your circuit. So there are no install costs, and it gives you between 25 and 40 miles of charge in 8 hours, whether that's during the day or at night. That's great. And in the Bay Area, I will point out, on average, people drive 25 miles a day. And in San Jose, this number is close to 10 miles a day. So this simple solution called Level 1 works out great for most people. So if you do drive more than 40 miles a day, a good option is to see if you can charge at work. In that case, you can take advantage of workplace charging when we know there's a lot of solar energy out there on the grid. If not, you may want to purchase a home charging station for Level 2 charging at home. You'll get about 25 miles in an hour, so you can easily get a full charge overnight. But I do want to point out that charging an EV is different from filling up a gas car. You're basically just topping off the electricity that you used each day. For me, that's going between like 60% of my battery charge to 80%. 80% is what most manufacturers recommend you charge to on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really just going between 60 and 80% of my battery charge on a day-to-day basis. It's very rare that I would have to charge from 10% of my battery to 100%. Maybe if I've gone on a road trip and I come home with a small amount of energy, but if I charge it even on Level 1, it's, works out really just great. But the first step for Level 1 and Level 2 is to consult with an electrician. And we have an online resource in our buying and driving guide that will help you determine the right charging station. It's really it's not so much that the electrician is going to install a station and that it's super hard to do that. It's more that he's going to install, or they are going to install, a 240 volt outlet close to where you park your car. So it's really all of the wiring that needs to be done from your electric panel to a 240 outlet or a 120 outlet, like close to where you're going to be charging, if that makes sense. And then you just plug in those charging stations right into the 240 volt outlet. So it's not super complex. Most electricians can handle this kind of work, putting in a 240 volt outlet. So charging away from home is easy too. There are many level two public chargers available, so you can charge when you're around town, running errands. But when you're on a road trip, you'll want to fast charge with a Level 3 charger, which is the fastest charging available. There are currently 3 standards for charging. The one on the left here under fast charging is just for Nissan Leafs. The one on the right is just for Tesla, and the one in the middle is for all other EVs. But as I mentioned, starting next year, we're going to get adapters so that anybody can use the very reliable Tesla supercharging network. And then in 2025, we're going to be seeing that adopted into the actual cars. So, we're an environmental nonprofit. We're all for people being able to charge, with chargers that actually work and that are highly reliable and easy to use, right? So Sarai talked a little bit about this. Once you start driving, it's ideal to charge your EV from rooftop solar. There's a federal tax credit available this year and for the next 10 years for 30% of the cost of your solar system, as well as storage, a battery. It's a great feeling to charge your car from the electricity you generate from your own roof. And for more resilience, you may want to consider a battery for storage. If you're not ready for solar, you can choose a clean energy plan from your utility or CCA. So you're charging your EV with clean energy from the sun and the wind. For example, if you live in San Jose Clean Energy is your local clean energy provider. They generate the clean electricity that PG&E then delivers to your home. So you're still getting a bill from PG&E, but the energy is coming from San Jose Clean Energy. San Jose Clean Energy's standard product is 60% renewables. PG&E's is about 30% renewables. It's among the highest for any big US city, so that's remarkable. You can easily upgrade to Total Green, which is 100% renewable energy. It costs about the cost of a cup of coffee a month in order to upgrade to Total Green. So that's really good news. So in addition to clean energy, your utility may offer a special reduced EV or time of use rate so that you pay less for electricity during certain times of the day. The time you'll want to charge your EV is between midnight and 3 p.m., and you'll really want to avoid charging between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. when electricity is most expensive. San Jose Clean Energy offers the same EV rate options as PG&E, but with lower electric generation costs, charges, and more renewable energy. So San Jose Clean Energy and other utilities and CCAs recommend charging during the day when the sun is shining. Since we have so much solar on the grid, we want to use all of that up so it doesn't go away. Sarai, do you want to talk a little more about this?
Yes, I'm going to expand on that a little bit. Why the daytime charging? It's a newer concept to people, so I'm going to share a little bit more about it. But what you see on the slide is a screen grab that I took just a few days ago from the California Independent System Operator, or CAISO. They're the nonprofit that operates the state's electricity grid. So powering the state is a delicate balancing act, and it's most cost effective and resilient when we can use the most abundant clean energy at the right time. So on this graph here, that big spike in green is the renewables, and you can see we have a ton of renewables right in the middle of the day when the sun is shining. So that's how EV charging comes into play. If you can charge when the sun is shining, then that's a double win, because you'll be drawing from the grid when there's lots of renewables. So it's going to be cheaper for you because the rates are designed that way, and it's going to be much cleaner. So if you're curious, anyone can access this CAISO information in real time on their website. They also have an app. And if you can't make daytime charging work, that's okay. You can still save by charging after midnight. And you can program your car to do that. You don't have to go out to your car at midnight to plug in. And like Annika said, on most time of use rates, wherein your rate cost varies throughout the day, you'll want to avoid charging during those peak hours, 4 to 9. You can see that's also the time that the renewables drop off. So it's more expensive and dirtier mix of energy. And then if you have solar and battery storage, going back to how pairing technology can be beneficial, you can use the battery to charge your EV with clean electricity, even when the sun isn't shining. That's all on this.
Great. I love that chart. Thank you, Sarai.
Yeah.
So there are several EV charging solutions for people who live in apartments and condos, and more solutions are on their way. People charge by plugging into a standard 120 volt outlet if it's available and allowed. Sometimes they are there right next to where you park your car. So that could be really great. The reason that they're not allowed is that sometimes, like, the outlets on the exterior of apartment buildings are on a separate monitor, and then everybody in like the HOA or in the apartment have to divide, pay for that cost. So it wouldn't be fair to allow people with EVs to get energy there, and then everybody has to pay for it. But there are these new smart outlets available, like PlugZeo and Orange Charger, that are really great solutions. Also, Go Power EV, which are great solutions if you park your car in a parking garage, for example. I do want also for everyone to know that that there is a law that if you want to install an EV charger in an apartment or a condo, the property owner has to allow you to do so. They may charge you to do so. So it's better if you can get a couple of people together and advocate to have the property owner actually install EV chargers. But it is an opportunity for everyone if they have to let you install charging. Some people charge at work. And other people charge using public fast chargers. And some manufacturers offer deals at point of sale, like free charging for 2 years. A lot of EVs right now get that, so it makes you want to charge at the public charger because you might get free fuel for 2 or 3 years. It's really great. On average, fast charging will give you about 70% of your battery range in 30 minutes or less. With some EVs, some of the newer EVs that are coming out, it's more like 20 minutes. So EV Match is another thing that you can look at if you're in this boat where you live in an apartment or a condo. They even can provide like free charging stations for you and like help you along the way. And again, a big way to have EV charging at apartments and condos is to advocate. The more they hear about the need for EV charging, the more likely they are to install EV charging. And, you're really doing them a favor by advocating because they need to upgrade if they don't already have EV charging. We're going electric here and they need to join the party. So taking a road trip is getting simpler all the time. Thousands of public charging sites are available. They provide fast charging, and we use apps like PlugShare and a Better Route Planner to easily plan trips and find chargers along the way. Typically, before I head on a road trip, I will go to the PlugShare website and I'll map out my trip so I know exactly where I'm going to stop and charge. Do I want to charge in Salinas and go to my favorite taqueria, or do I want to go to Gilroy and do some outlet shopping? You can kind of figure out where you want to stop and charge. Yeah, it was funny when we first got an EV, we ended up stopping at all these EV chargers at, near outlet stores. And I'm like, we're actually spending more money now because we're at the outlet stores all the time. But no, it's convenient. It's convenient. So Electrify America, EVgo, and ChargePoint and Tesla, all offer these app or card-based stations, making it easy to tap, charge, and go. But with public charging, we do recommend that you practice a few times locally before heading out on a road trip, because you want to make sure that you're set up with these different apps. We wish that there was one universal app that everybody could use and it was super easy. But at this point, we're not quite there. I think we're moving towards some advocacy in that direction. But at this point, you have to have the separate apps for the different charging networks. But you do want to have them on your phone, ready to go. You can also get cards sent to you in the mail. With EVgo, that seems to work really well. When you have the card, you just hold it up to the station and it, connects you. I even have ChargePoint in my Apple Wallet, so it's really easy when I use ChargePoint. Sometimes when I do yoga on the weekends, I pull into a parking garage, plug in for an hour, and I can just use my Apple Wallet to connect with ChargePoint. So that's really convenient. The other thing to note is that sometimes you'll just bring your cable with you, your charging cable with you, if you're planning to stay in a VRBO or an Airbnb, and you can just charge while you're there. So that's just by plugging into a 120 volt outlet. Some hotels also offer convenience charging like that, concierge charging. So we are here to help, Ride and Drive Clean. We're an environmental nonprofit, and we are here to help you go electric. We offer these EV and e-bike discount campaigns with partners like Rad Powerbike and Cartelligent. As I mentioned, through the rest of this year, we'll have this e-bike discount campaign with Rad Powerbikes, and we'll be launching a new EV discount campaign with Cartelligent, which is a car concierge service later in October, in a few weeks. So we're super excited about that. What was I going to say? They have an office in Menlo Park, not so far away. So with that model, you would talk to one of their sales associates on the phone, let them know what car you're interested in, and they will source it for you. You don't have to do any negotiating with the dealers. It's really a nice service. And then you'll go pick it up. So your closest, if you're in San Jose, your closest pickup spot would be Menlo Park. We offer lots of EV and e-bike shows all around the Bay Area. We sometimes do them down in San Jose. We have one coming up in Richmond tomorrow. We have one in Greenbrae up in Marin County on Saturday. We have one in Pinole coming up. one in San Rafael. We have lots of EV shows coming up, Alameda as well. So check our website on our events page. We have them all listed. We also offer EV 102 webinars. So this one is an EV 101, but EV 102 is more like if you're very close to buying or if you've recently bought an EV, then you'll want to attend an EV 102 where we do a deeper dive on some of the incentives and how to take a road trip and how to make sure you're set up for clean energy at home. We also have lots of resources on our website. Sarai?
Yeah, I'll make this quick, but SJCE is focused on helping make EV education more accessible to everybody in San Jose, helping more people find out the benefits of EVs and realize that getting one may be more feasible than they think. So some things that we've done and that we're continuing to do in an effort to do this, we've hosted or sponsored 4 local ride and drives since 2021, and we have plans to do some more. We're hosting these EV 101 and 102 webinars with Annika and her team. We're also planning virtual financial assistance clinics where we would go in depth on those incentives that were mentioned earlier. So that'll likely be in 2024. Details are TBD, so keep an eye on our emails, our website, social media. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which is on our website or will be sent in a follow-up email. We've also hosted community dinners for residents to come learn more and have a nice dinner together. And we've invested $14 million in helping to double public charging infrastructure in San Jose. So those chargers are all underway, very exciting. So just want to let you know what we're up to here at SJCE.
Thank you. So I'd like to thank you all for attending this program this evening, wherever you are in your journey to an EV or e-bike. I hope it was helpful. And thank you to San Jose Clean Energy for sponsoring this webinar. If you can make the switch to driving electric now, we're here to help. The sooner the better. San Jose Clean Energy is together we can help you along the way. If you're not ready now, can we have your support by pledging to make your next car electric? Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car. It will be on this earth emitting emissions and and air pollution for 12 to 15 years, and we have to stop burning fossil fuels as soon as possible. I also want to notice, I see here some people are saying it was helpful, but I have more questions, and that's okay. If you were to buy a new gas car, you probably could just go to the dealership and buy it immediately and not have any questions because we're all used to that technology. But with EVs, it takes a little longer because you have to figure out how to charge at home and figure out all these new models and brands. So it does take a little longer, and we welcome you to come back to another EV 101 or an EV 102 and come to our EV shows and keep engaging with us throughout your journey. Really, we're here to help. I've put our events page on our in the chat here. You can click on that and it should appear in your browser. There's an EV incentives page on our website, Ride and Drive Clean. If you want to learn exactly which EVs qualify for the tax credit for purchasing, you can click that fuel economy link. And then if you want to just go to Cartelligent now, you're ready to go electric, even before we do our EV discount campaign. It's a no hassle experience. Feel free to click on Cartelligent and sign up with them, and they can be in touch. And then more information about, this speaks a little bit to Sarai's point. A lot of people who come to our webinars are interested in going electric, throughout their home. And this website, Rewiring America, has tax credits and rebates on all things electric. So that's a really handy website to, keep in your back pocket as well. And I see a couple of questions. I will start kind of going through them here. And if anybody wants to unmute and ask a question, that's okay too, or raise your hand, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, I've answered a couple of these. Yes, that's a good point, Roland. The Tesla Model 3 has reduced prices for some of their EVs that are in their inventory already, that are in stock. If you buy the price that I was referring to was if you buy, if you kind of like are buying a new one that's not already in inventory. I would definitely look at those that are already in stock. They actually have a good filter tool to help you figure out find that EV that you're looking for. Yeah, we talked a little bit about charging stations earlier, Anil. So really, the Tesla supercharging stations are superior to all of the other brands. We've done a study. The other brands, typically, it's about 73% reliability rate, whereas Tesla is 98% reliability rate. So really, really nice. But they are getting better. I do know that like Electrify America and EVgo are replacing some of their charging stations. So hopefully, they're getting better and better all the time. But we are moving to the Tesla standard, the North American charging standard for, most EV manufacturers are moving toward that standard. Yeah, Mercedes is one of our slides. Yeah. Yeah, so there are several luxury EV brands, and there is a price limit for all of the rebates for for vehicles. So you'll want to look at that for sure. But there are many great luxury. If you're interested in more of a luxury brand, there are lots of Volvos, BMWs, Mercedes, Jaguar, Porsche. There are amazing options out there. They're a little more high end. BMW has two new brands, the i4 and the iX, that are really popular, especially if you're a BMW lover. Hyundai is going to have some great deals coming out in the next few weeks. They'll be included in our EV discount campaign. Oh, yeah. So, okay, I answered Laura's question. Most of the time, you want to keep your EV between 20 and 80%. Sometimes when you're on a road trip, you might bring it down to like 10 or 15%, depending upon where you stop and charge. We talk a little bit more about that in the EV 102. This is for battery protection. But, before you're heading off on a road trip, you can charge it up to 100%. Once in a while, it's not a problem. So you can enjoy the full range of your battery. Yeah, what does it cost to install an EV at a rental property? So really, it really depends on the rental property, on the electrical panel that's already there. But if their electric panel is upgraded and they have the space for this, it's really the cost of the charging stations and whether they're getting level 1 or level 2 charging makes a big difference. Level 1 is much easier. You're really just wiring 120 volt, standard outlets. Whereas with the level 2, you also have the charging stations and more wiring, more cable to get that 240 volt outlet. Yeah, that's great, Sade. Yeah, 2 years with a lease. That's awesome. Provide information on the regulation of property owners allowing tenants. In a follow-up email, I can do that. I don't have that information at hand right now. We're actually just trying to simplify it. We got a document. We were talking about it at our team meeting this week. We got a document that really outlines this, but it's very technical. And we were actually using ChatGPT. We were cheating a little bit to try to make this more user-friendly, the content. And hopefully we'll have some more information about that. But if you're interested in, I'm going to actually put one. We have sort of an honorary board member at Cool the Earth. His name is Bruce Bell, and he was instrumental in adding EV chargers at his condo. And he's happy to talk to people about this. I'm putting his contact information in the chat right now. Bruce Bell, you feel free to email him and just say, hey, I just attended an EV 101. And, they mentioned that you could maybe help us a little bit. And he knows all about this. Let's see, what else? It's awesome to see more charging on the West Coast. Yes, absolutely. More and more is coming through state funding, city funding, CCA funding, and through the federal funding program. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, I'll be sending a follow-up email, maybe in a few days, because I do want to get the recording edited so that you don't have to listen to the whole intro for 15 minutes when we first started this. And we'll send a follow-up email in the next few days. It will be coming from info@Ride and Drive Clean. You will also, since you signed up for this webinar, you will be put on our mailing list, and we'll be sending you information about more webinars that are coming, our EV and e-bike discount campaigns. You're welcome to unsubscribe if it's too much, but for most people, they want to learn about all these new things that are happening with EVs and e-bikes. So, as you wish. Yeah, the campaign is coming. The next EV discount campaign is coming. I think it's starting the 10th or the 12th of October. You'll definitely be hearing from us. We will send out some email blast about that, so you'll know all about that when it comes. Good idea to go out and do some test driving. You can come to these. There are a lot of EV events happening. Actually, that's a good thing that I might put in the chat right now. There are lots of events: National Drive, Electric Week 2023. You can look for events near you by going to this link. Let me drop it right in here. Drive Electric Week. You can put in your zip code and find out what's happening there close to where you live. There are probably some EV shows close to San Jose, but they're going on all over the Bay Area, frankly, all over the United States. So this is really exciting. Thank you, Roland, for sharing that with Linda. How much risk is reduced when driving with an EV? I don't have the percentage, but it is there. Each one is a little different, but we look at the safety ratings of individual vehicles, and most of the EVs, we see the highest safety standards. So there are like all these monitors outside and cameras, outside of your EV. Really great like backup cameras, so it's a little bit safer. Another thing that makes EVs safe is the regenerative braking. So when you take your foot off the acceleration, you immediately start slowing down. So that has, that you would have a less of an impact if you were about to hit somebody. The one that I have now has one of these adjustable cruise controls. So it's slowing down when I'm like 5 car distances away from a car, which is really great. I know some gas cars have that as well. A chat with all the links. Okay, I will try to do that. What I will do is put these links, I will add these links to the email that I send out. I think that will be easier than sending you the text, unless I can figure out how to do that as one link. Yeah, we're going to have a Fisker Ocean at our show in Greenbrae this weekend, if that's interesting to you. I think I got all the questions. Please let me know if you have any more questions. Feel free to raise your hand. At this point, we have fewer people. You can just unmute and ask a question if there's anything.
Hi, thank you for this webinar. We'll be going to LA, and we wanted to try in the showroom the Frisk Ocean, I think it's called.
The Fisker Ocean, yes.
Fisker Ocean. Do you know of any site that gives like very impartial reviews about all these new cars or all this new technology?
Consumer Reports has some, Car and Driver has some great reports. I think those are 2 that I would recommend.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. Well,
so let's see. Which cars will be at the Alameda show? I don't have them all in front of me, but I know we'll have a Ford F-150 Lightning. We'll have a Ford Mustang Mach-E, a couple of Teslas, some Chevy Bolts, I believe a Nissan Leaf, and a Kia EV6, which is one of those cars that has really fast charging, really cool looking car, really fast charging. So you were able to save the chat, Roland? on your own, it looks like. So if you want to save the chat, click the three dots next to the happy face at the bottom of the chat. Yes, I see that right there. You can save the chat right now individually. That's great.
I'm just wondering what the insurance rates are on the EV.
Yeah, so because replacement parts for EVs are not as standard and they're so high tech, insurance rates are somewhere between 5 and 10% more.
Okay. From a gas? Okay.
Yes, from a gas car. But really, they should be thinking about, like, just all the safety features that it's actually safer to drive, So hopefully we'll see a change in that and in the cost, and that will come down soon. Some people tell me that with their insurance, it didn't cost any more.
Maybe depending on your driving record.
Yeah, that too. And then it's funny, Tesla has their own insurance, but it's not based on it's not based on like your age and like your college education and stuff like that. It's based on your real-time driving. So the rates are fluctuating depending upon how you drive. I mean, it is a little bit like Google, like Tesla kind of knows everything about you because of the technology that they have. So they're able to, so I mean, I don't know. That could be to your advantage or not, depending upon how you drive or how much you drive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's an interesting model. Yeah, we'll definitely have that Kia EV6 at the Alameda show, Chevy Bolt, and then I mentioned some of the others already.
You mentioned about the tax credit being different next year.
Well, this year, it's starting this year. It's different that all of the vehicles that were on that website, the one here, I'll put it again in the chat, the fuel economy website. All of the cars listed on this website here that I'm putting in the chat are currently available. We think that more will be added because I've seen in the news, like it sounds like Kia and Hyundai are building manufacturing plants, in the United States. So hopefully they'll then be able to, be qualifying. We have to make sure that these manufacturers are putting in batteries that are sourced from our trade partners. And, there are some issues about some of the rare earth minerals that are sourced for all lithium, ion batteries. They're mostly now put into cell phones and laptops. And about 50% of these rare earth minerals are going into EVs now, but there's great recycling. So we're trying to capture all the old lithium ion batteries from EVs, from laptops, from cell phones, and so that we can reuse those earth minerals as we build newer models.
Thank you.
Can I add something, Annika? Maybe also Therese could have been referring to the fact that it'll go to a point of sale in 2024.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we don't.
Thank you.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking back to a question that somebody had earlier. But yes, it will be point of sale. We really don't know how that's going to work because there are some income qualifications. So I don't know if you're going to be bringing like your tax statements to the dealer when you're buying an EV or how that all is going to work. But we're waiting for guidance from the federal government on that. But yeah, that will be nice because if you can get that $7,500 up front as a down payment, that could be really significant.
Yes, that would help out a lot too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, once you have your EV, it's cheaper to fuel it and it's cheaper to maintain it. We know that.
Yes.
Yeah, that initial cost can be a little bit hard.
Yes.
Yes, true. North America. Thank you, Laura. All right. Are there any more questions? We are about 17 minutes after the hour. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this webinar. I will stay on for 30 seconds in case a few more questions arise. Thanks again, San Jose Clean Energy and Sarai for co-presenting.
Thank you for the
We'll get
presentation.
a recording.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for your interest in going electric.
Thank you so much to both. Bye-bye.
Thank you.